Hello everyone, welcome to this video on TCS NQT 2020 official sample test solutions. In this video, we're going to talk about the verbal ability section of the official sample test. We've already done the videos on the numerical and the reasoning as well, so you can watch it if you're not. This video is brought to you by Learning Made Easy team, a team of IIM grads in association with our e-learning partner GTCube Get to the Top. Before I get into solutions, if you have not attempted the test, it's available in the website of TCS. It's a very good experience for you to attempt and get a feel of how the test will be, because it's a proper replication of the exact test. So go ahead and do it. The link is available in the description, or you can directly go to TCS NQT website and you can see the sample test right next to the registration button, and you can start the test for 2 hours. So GTCube has prepared a mini mock test, 2 mock test series, which is exact replica of TCS NQT 2020 sample test pattern. After analyzing it, we have come up with the difficulty wise as well as the questions, the pattern of the questions that they've asked, so that it will give you a good experience before you're taking the actual test. So if you're interested, you can go to our website gtcube.com/store, and you can find this course at a very affordable price, 99 rupees only. So grab it. So let's start with the first one. This one is on a simple business language based question. Which one of the following sentences uses formal language? Right? When you use formal language, it should be a little bit with a pleasant way. It should not be like a normal colloquial style or a slang style, and next it should have the words like please, right? All of those formal words. So bring an umbrella when you come is definitely something you talk to mostly your friends or something, or normal people. Oh dear, so you'll never come up with these sort of exclamations and all in the formal language. Forgot to switch off the lights. Could you please pass me the book? Right, this is the perfect one. Please, right? You're asking something but with a request, with the formal tone, it's properly. Right, here it would have been please bring an umbrella when you come. This would have been a little bit better, but they have not used the word for me. Don't you know that you must maintain some distance? This is something again you don't use in a business or formal style, right? Something about the distance, don't you know that and all. So I think this would be the correct one out of the lot. The second one, the following sentence pair can be combined into one better sentence. So the one which is the best revision. The thief got into the house. The thief came through the open window. So the thief entered the home through open window. That's like, because the thief got into the house, the window was open. That's not what the intention was. He entered through the open window, not that, because thief got into the house, the window was open. At least that's not what this was claiming, right? The problem for me is the because. The window was open, nevertheless. Again, it's first of all a wrong usage here. The window was open, nevertheless, the thief got into the house. Nevertheless is not correctly used here, and also it's not giving me the correct meaning. The thief got into the house through the open window. This is the perfect one, right? The window was open, so thief got into the house through the open window. The thief got into the house although, this is a transition word, although the window was open. No, he entered because the window was open actually, right? So it should have been other way around. Thief got into the house because the window was open, right? That would have been a bit better, but yes, both of them are the same, although because of that they've used the wrong ways. So this is the correct one here. Option C is the answer. So this one is grammar based question, sentence correction. One part of the sentence may contain an error. Identify the part. If there is no error, choose no error as the option. They are usually doing their weekly shopping at the new store in the neighborhood. So the one problem here for me is this. It should be they usually do. If it's a regular activity, right? I go to school every day. The sun rises in the east. So you use simple present for it. You don't use usually doing, like ing format, right? So when it's a regular activity, if it's a habit, I walk every day, I run every day, right? I go to school, I go to office. You don't say I'm going to the office every day nearby home, right? So that's why it's the problem is with this. They usually do, that's a simple present. They usually do their weekly shopping at the new store. Option A is the answer. So they have passages also. There are 2 passages. One of them is this. So I'm not going to read it in detail, but right, I'll just do quickly. More than 95 million years ago, a mighty river system rode through what is now the Moroccan Sahara, providing a home to one of the most unusual river monsters known to science, the predatory dinosaur Spinosaurus. So they're talking about some, Spinosaurus. It's one of the dinosaurs which was found, in this Moroccan Sahara, whatever the river and all. Fully grown, the 50-foot long, the 7-ton beast stretched longer than an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex and had an elongated snout similar to the crocodiles. that bristled with sharp conical teeth. So some description about the Spinosaurus, right? Height, weight and all of that. Now paleontologists plumbing these ancient sediments have found large abundances of those conical teeth and at two sites in the southeastern Morocco. In one bone bed, teeth from Spinosaurus outnumber those of the other dinosaurs by roughly 150 to 1. So they have found large abundance of the conical teeth at a couple of sediments. So in one of the bed, the river bed, they saw a lot. 150 to 1 is a lot, right? The Spinosaurus teeth are found in abundant. Because these rocks formed from the river sediments, the discovery implies that Spinosaurus lost its teeth in the water far more than the other dinosaurs that lived in the region, further bolstering the case that this animal was a unique aquatic killer. So that means it lives on aquatic animals. With such an abundance of Spinosaurus teeth, it is highly likely that the animal was living mostly within the water rather than along its banks. Lead study author Thomas Beaver, a graduate student at the UK's University of Portsmouth, says in a press release. That's something that they found. They went to a bed, they saw a lot of teeth, then they found it to be much more. So from which they have come to a conclusion that it must be eating aquatic. It's an aquatic killer. It lives most of the time within the water than on the banks. Which of the following is not a characteristic of the creature? It had a conical teeth. Obviously it had a conical teeth, right? It had a snout. They said it had a snout. It was very large in the size. Definitely, right? That's like 50 foot long and all of that. They said it's longer than the adult eye. So it only ate fish. That's the wrong option. It said it's an aquatic killer, doesn't mean it's only eat fish, right? Only ate fish. It could be eating some other things. Maybe it's eating plants in aquatic. We don't know. Or maybe something else. We don't know. Fish is being a bit a part of aquatic breed, but not the complete one. So out of all the options, this is the best option. The passage is easy to read, and then also it's very, how do I put it? Direct to get the answers also. That's how most of the passages are. Not very inferential questions or complicated ones. So you can quickly read it and attempt the questions if you need to revisit back. It won't take you too much of time to read. Short and easy read and easy questions, direct questions. How many tons did the adult fully grown Spinosaurus weigh? It is weighing 7 tons, right? 95, 50, 150, 7 tons. That's the answer. What evidence made paleontologists guess that the dinosaur was an aquatic creature? This is where they've come up with this, right? Actually this one, aquatic creature means it lives in water. So this one would be the correct one actually. With such an abundance of Spinosaurus teeth, it is highly likely that the animal was living mostly in the river rather than on the banks. The river sediments contain parts of its bones? No. That's focus was on the teeth, completely on the teeth, right? Not on its bones at all. They found drawings of its near ears, not mentioned at all in the passage, drawings. They found its skeletons near the river side. Again, not on the skeletons, it was on the teeth. They found teeth in the water, right? The focus was all on the teeth. That's the option that you should select, option D for it. Which word is closest in the meaning to the word plumbing in the passage, right? So plumbing generally means study and examine and all of that. So even if you don't know, you can just search now paleontologists plumbing these. That means, they are analyzing, they are studying these ancient sediments, found something, right? So that's basically examining is the correct word. These are definitely wrong. Understanding could be a close call for you. But then I would say because it's talking about analyzing, studying and all, I would rather than putting understanding, I would use the examining. That's a more suitable, they're like examining things, right? They were digging deep, trying to understand something. So it will be examining is a better word for this. So that's option D is the answer. This is something unique in this that I've seen in TCS NQ2 actually. So they are talking about parajumbles. Technically they are parajumbles only, but then they have given you S1 and S4, the first and the last lines. The 2 lines should be found out of the 3 options. It's a mix of it. We see in CAT that they give you 5 sentences and ask you to find the odd one out. 4 of them make 1 paragraph, 1 sentence will be odd one. Right. Very similar to that, you have to find 1 sentence out of these 3 which is odd. The other 2 will follow in this entire story and they will be the ones you should pick up. So it will be easier if you can understand the story and then try to pick the odd one out. Okay, that is the better strategy that I prefer and I would recommend also. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I talk about statement 1. A ballad is a short narrative folk song whose distinctive style crystallized in Europe in the late Middle Ages. So they're talking about some song, some style crystallized in Europe in the late Middle Ages, right? Some fact about some folk song, right? Then the last one says the ballad also plays a critical role in creation and maintenance of distinct national cultures. So it helped to, like every folk song from a different region has a different style. Maybe that is helping us to create and maintain distinct national cultures. That's what maybe they're trying to say. So the other 2 should be going with this tone. the story mode. Hence the term ballad is also applied to any narrative composition suitable for singing. So that's something they're talking. Okay, this narrative, right, that's like from this short narrative they're talking, this narrative form persists to a present day in communities where literacy, urban contacts and mass media have little affected the habit of folk singing. This one, since ballads thrive among unlettered people and freshly created from the memory at each separate performance, they are subject to constant variation in both text and tune. For me, this seems to be the odd one out. Okay, if you carefully observe here, this one, I'll tell you how these questions would be created. Okay, they will take a long passage, they will pick 4 lines, and the 5th line is picked somewhere at the top or at the bottom in the same passage. So it will still talk about the same topic. You won't find the odd one out, which is completely, if the passage is talking about the ballads or music, they don't suddenly get into a folk song, suddenly they don't get into sports. That is pure odd one out. That's super easy to figure out. They won't do that. They would rather pick the 5th line somewhere in the previous or the next succeeding paragraphs. So the topic would still use words similar to it, but then you have to understand why would someone who is writing suddenly jump the thought, the idea that he or she is expressing. Here it's saying, since ballads thrive among unlettered people and are freshly created from memory at each separate performance, they are subject to constant variation in both text and tune. This is something that I am not feeling that's in the sync. Here the things would be like, this narrative form persists to the present day in communities. Here I would take Q as the next one because it's talking about crystallized in Europe in the late Middle Ages. Right, so this one was formed in that period. This narrative is this talking about this short narrative, persists to the present day because they're talking about something in the past, still it exists still to the present day in communities where literacy, urban contacts and mass media have little affected the habit of folk singing. So this would be a proper connection to it. Q. And then hence the term ballad is also applied to any narrative composition suitable for singing. The ballad also plays a critical role in creation and maintenance of distinct national cultures. So I would say QP is QP should be the answer for this particular question. If you eliminate R, at least I can eliminate, okay, technically you can eliminate all R. See, that's how we can help actually. Sometimes if I want to make it tricky, I would have put PQ also. But then this narrative, I am just trying to get a proper connection between S1 and Q. P is not properly fitting, but then it's the best one I could see out of the lot. So R is definitely the odd one out to remove. Right. The 9th one, select the most appropriate option to fill in the blank. Dash wins the match will take the trophy. Who wins the match? No. Whoever wins the match will take the trophy home. Those who wins the match will take, those who wins the match would have been the correct one. But then again, those wins the match wrong. They win the match. It should have been win first of all if it is they, subject verb. Definitely this is not wrong. Right. So whoever is the correct one. There's no concept that we can teach. If you see some of the questions that are there in this one, they are typical simple English testing. If you are someone good with your language skills, you will find it very easy. So this one is fill in the blanks, but instead of with verbs, they're asking you to fill with the sentences. This is again a bit unique that I have seen in this. So you just have to figure out the one which will go with the context. Similar to the parajumbles in a way, but right, just pick the odd one out, remove it and then fit the other two in a way. The elephant was causing a lot of trouble walking around the town. I thought this was an incredible coincidence, but then I realized that I had probably heard the news story on the radio when I was half asleep. Right, so it was coming a thought to the whoever is making the sentence. So this was coincidence, but then I realized I had probably heard the news story on the radio when I was half asleep. The blank. We get ideas for films and film scripts and then they produce, not all related to here. I couldn't hear it very well, but there was a story on the news about an elephant that had escaped from the local circus. Okay, but then this one not really going well with me compared to the last one. That was why I was dreaming about elephant. See, that's like the elephant was causing, this is some dream the author had. The thought was incredible coincidence because I had probably heard the news on a radio when I was half asleep. When you're half asleep, maybe some thoughts go into you, then that's how you dream about it. I couldn't hear it well. Maybe that might sound like a good one because you're half asleep, you couldn't hear it well, but there was a story on the news that comes up. Okay, but still let's keep it. Okay, it's tricky one. If you still keep it, let me show you how you can eliminate it further. The answer should be C, but I'm still go ahead. I quickly got dressed and went into the kitchen to get some coffee bean before I went to work. I work for a film company. Dash, I thought a film about an elephant in Manchester would be great. This is where this would fit in. We get ideas for films and film scripts and then we try to produce the films. This one goes with this, right? I work in a film company. None of these two things will suddenly fit into this. Talking about heard about news and elephant and all. I work for a film company. We get the ideas for films and film scripts. Then I thought a film about elephant would be perfect. So second one should be C. At least I can eliminate these two, 2A, 2B. It should be either of this. Right? At least you are getting your half of a chance, right? Even if you close your eyes and mark something. So the answer should be 1C. Sorry, my bad. 2A is what the answer should be, right? Somehow I did. It would have been super easy for us. So should be 2 should be A. I did C, but it should be A. And 1 should be C according to me. But if you see, even if you understand 2A, there's only one option. The rest all are 2A, 2C, 2B. So 1C and 2A is the one. As I said, even if you can get one thing which is very easy, second one is super easy to understand. Even if you fit that, then you are done. Like it's super easy to mark the answer as 1C and 2A. So not necessary that you have to know everything perfect. You can eliminate the options and play with the options. Be attentive with that perspective. This one is again something similar to that. Fill in the blank with the sentences. So it's about Iceland. So every September in Iceland brings the arrival of retire, I don't know, the annual sheep roundup. After spending the spring and summer grazing in the hills and meadows of Icelandic countryside, all of the 8 lakh of the nation's sheep are brought to home to their respective ranches to avoid the harsh winter weather. So they are brought back to home to be protected from the winter. The first sentence is blank. They then sought them to go back to their respective owners. When the work is all done, everyone celebrates with music, dancing, drinks and food. Dash, if watching sheep herding sounds dull, check this out. There are twice as many sheep in Iceland as there are people. So the first one, the event has attracted tourists interested in seeing this collaborative effort in action. This seems to be fit for this one for now, because they are celebrating and all of that. If at all it should go in this. It would definitely not go for the first one. 1A is absolutely wrong, okay, because it's talking about, read this yourself, right? So they get a lot of sheep to the home. The event has attracted a lot of tourists, collaborative. They then sought. Doesn't go well with the story, right? Icelandic sheep are descended from short-tailed sheep brought to the island from Norway in the 9th and 10th centuries within the first wave. This is absolutely nonsense sentence. Not at all going with the sync. Try to focus on it. The focus has all been on the ship. The sheep they are brought from the hills to protect them in their home, and then they sort them, go back to the respective owners, and then the work is done, they celebrate. The Icelandic sheep are coming from Norway, 9th and centuries, first wave settled. If at all it should be there, it should be there at the start of the paragraph or at the end, maybe some other idea. So this should be absolutely eliminated. If there is any B, I should eliminate it. Okay, it should not fit in any of this. So if you see it, this is the only thing left, but I'll tell you. The effort is hard work with ranchers and Icelandic sheepdogs working to bring the sheep in. So this one will go well with this. So 8 lakh of sheep are brought from the meadows to the home. It is definitely hard work. The effort is hard work with ranchers and Icelandic sheepdogs working to bring the sheep in. They then sought them. Who are they? They are these people who are ranchers and Icelandic sheepdogs who are working to get those sheep in. They then sort them so that they go back to the respective owners. When the work is done, they celebrate. The event has attracted when they are doing celebrations, a lot of tourists come and see this collaborative effort in action and all. So it should be 1C and 2A. That's the perfect one. This one is fill in the blank with words, not sentences, simple ones. So the main attraction of tourists and wildlife enthusiasts to the Corbett National Park is the splendid view of the tiger in all its majesty. The park is a dash habitat. There you see natural habitat of the rare species of tigers. Natural, national, normal and neutral. It should be natural. It's a natural habitat of the rare species of tigers that are facing extinction, and wealthy flora and fauna with a variety of wild animals and birds, which make it a haven for the bird watchers. That is a good place. It's a good place. It's a place that draws huge tourist inflow and offers excellent sightseeing. Invasion, no, tourists won't invade. Invasion is like going forcefully, attacking someone forcefully. Tourist arrival, maybe. Tourist inflow, tourist arrival. Tourist introduction, no, again it's not introduction. It should be either of A or C for me, if at all. But let's see, one should be A. There's only one option here, 1A and 2A. So even if you know one of them, you are done, right? You're able to select the answer. So answer should be 1A and 2A. This one, again fill in the blank with words. I passed in my journey to marvel at this beautiful sight. Taking off my shoes and socks, I put my feet in the stream and dashed my toes to luxuriate to the ice in the ice cold water, right? I allowed my toes. Approved, enjoyed my toes to luxuriate, definitely not a right fit. Approved might sound a bit okay for it, but then you don't approve your toes, right? You rather let your toes or something. So allowed is the right one. I put my feet in the stream and allowed my toes to luxuriate. I liked my teeth to luxuriate, not again fitting it. So 1C is the best one. Feeling dash, so it should be feeling good or energetic and all. Refreshed, retreated, recoiled and retired are definitely not the words. If you see, there's only one for the first C, so it should be to be refreshed. Feeling refreshed should be the one with 1C. So I allowed my feet, my toes to luxuriate. Feeling refreshed, I was putting my shoes to cross the stream and I heard a rasping voice behind me. That's the answer for it, 1C and 2B. So even if you can fit one blank properly, most of the case it would help you to eliminate the other options. So this one is again like the fill in the blank with the sentences. So it's about Mohenjo-daro. So a well-planned street grid and an elaborate drainage system hint the occupants of the ancient Indus civilization city of Mohenjo-daro was skilled urban planners with a reverence for control of water. So they have analyzed, they found some nice drainage system that hints that the people, the ancient Indus civilization city Mohenjo-daro people were skilled urban planners with a good focus on control of water, right? Skilled in control of water. Dash, I don't know. It's pretty faceless, says Indus expert Gregory Poschel of the University of Pennsylvania of Philadelphia. The city lacks ostentatious palaces, that's like grand big temples, palaces, monuments. So that's why it's saying it's pretty faceless. Let's say if someone ruled, Mughals ruled India, they had Taj Mahal, they have something great, palaces and all of that, forts and all. So someone if rules, they'll have something. That's why they said it's pretty faceless, that you don't know. They did not do any of this stuff. Right, something is facing modesty, order and cleanliness were apparently preferred. Right, basically it means that whatever it fits here should talk about this. Right, they did not do grand stuff. They were rather doing some simple stuff. There is no obvious central seat of government or evidence of a king or queen. Okay, nothing that I can connect now. But just who occupied the ancient city in the modern day Pakistan during the 3rd millennial BC remains a puzzle. This looks something that I can fit in, here. Why? Because it says it's pretty faceless, right? So I should know. We don't know who occupied the ancient city, basically, which means I don't know who was the ruler. So that could be a good fit here. Sometimes I also thought maybe A could be there because they said it is pretty faceless because there was no king or a queen. So maybe because of which there was no proper standard in terms of what they did in palaces and all of that. But then more suitable one for me was B. The city lacks ostentatious palaces, temples and monuments. Several excavations occurred in 1920 through 1931. So this one is odd one out. Okay, even if you understand this, you can eliminate these two options. To be between these two, definitely not fitting in the context. So I am not very much comfortable put A here, but then the only thing left for me is to come A here. So B is here and A is here. So the city had no of this and there was no, so continuation, the city did not have palaces and there was no king or a queen. So modesty, order and cleanness were apparently preferred. So it should be one, B and 2 A. This is the one that I would say. This is a bit tricky, but this is the answer for this. So for the 4 sentences given below, again the same thing, para jumbles with 2 of them missing. So you got to make sure that you arrange them. So proteins are probably the most versatile of all the organic molecules, making up many structures and executing various functions within organisms. So they are talking about proteins. They are most versatile of organic molecules. So they have many structures executing various functions and all. The last one is these amino acids all have almost the exact same composition. So what are these amino acids? They have talked about some amino acids, right? Proteins have 4 levels of structure. The primary structure is bonding of amino acids to one another. Okay. Building blocks called amino acids make up proteins. So that's something. About 20 different amino acids combine to form all of the various types of proteins on the earth. See, about 20 amino acids. This is what these amino acids are referring to. There are 20 amino acids, but all of these have almost the same composition. So I would say R should come here. If at all I can pick it, at least that should help good enough for me to say this should be the answer. There's no option. I don't know what was the 4th option. If there was an R, then it would have been a battle between these two for me. We didn't take the snip of it, but then let's look at this. So out of these two, I would say this is a bit odd here. Okay, they have talked about protein being more versatile and all. Building blocks called amino acid make up proteins. So that will be because it's introduction of amino acids. Okay, because directly you don't say about 20 different amino acids, rather I would want a primer sentence before it. Building blocks called amino make up protein. So that's a connection between the proteins and this. Even this is talking about the form various types of protein on earth, but proteins have 4 levels of structure. The primary structure is the bonding of amino acids to one another. This is not like perfectly fitting over there. It's a bit tricky, I would say. I don't know what the fourth option was, but I would say QR is the answer. PR is a bit closer. It could be a tricky one, but definitely R should come here. That's a sure shot for me. Right, that should be enough for me to eliminate the options and pick this as the answer. This one, if I could afford it, I would buy myself a new car. That's the correct one. If I could afford it, I can. No, because if I could means it's about my capability. So I would not say I can. I ought to means you are saying definitely, I would definitely do it. And then even if I do, I would say I ought to. You should write actually I ought to. The I ought buy is not a good fit. I won't use that way. I had to again, if I could afford it, I had to buy. This would have been written, but then that is also not a correct. So would is the correct one. If I could afford it, I would buy myself a new car. This one is also fill in the blank with the grammar based. So these are all the fill in the blanks with grammars. Gaya is one of the oldest cities. Will be, no. It's like you're talking about it as a fact right now. So as I said, it's a fact. Delhi is the capital of India. Will be capital if I am making it in the future. But then Gaya is actually one of the oldest cities in India. So it should be is. Right? R, no, it's not a plural. Gaya is a city, right? B, Gaya, B, no. It's like is one of the oldest cities in India. Again, a passage based question. There are 4. So I have seen 2 passages with 4 questions each, and they are pretty straightforward. So you can take 1 minute to maximum 1.5 minutes to read it, then just answer them. Vaccines play an essential role in disease prevention, helping minimize the spread of contagious illness and saving countless lives. Before vaccines ever gain widespread use in humans, however, they undergo years of research and development with multiple rounds of clinical testing. So they do a lot of testing to ensure the final product is safe and effective. The development process culminates, that's like ends, in an approval by government regulatory agency. But how is vaccine approved and what are the factors that govern approval? So that's what they're continuing. Each country or region has its own approvals agency. US has US FDA, Europe has European Medicines Agency, Australia has its Therapeutic Goods Administration, China has its China Food and Drug Administration. So each of these agencies has its own process in place, but in general, when considering the approval of new drugs, the decisions are based on scientific and technological information, right? So the first information is obtained through a series of preclinical studies in cells and animal models. Then they do 3 phases of clinical trials in human beings. So first on animals and cells, then clinical trials in 3 phases, each phase having distinct aims and increasingly large populations of test subjects. Once these trials are completed, the drug sponsor submits an application for review and then it's approved by the regulatory agency. That's how you will get the thing. So this entire part talked about the regulatory agencies and the process. The first part talks about vaccines help it. So it takes a lot of effort and the time. So they need to undergo the testing and all of that. So how is the vaccine approved and what are the factors that approve the government? Right. The passage is mainly about conducting trials for vaccines. No. Need for safe vaccines. No. That's not what the majority. So when I say mainly about, you should find the major point being discussed. Approvals for vaccines, that's what they're talking about, right? So how would, how is the approval process happening? So all of the second paragraph talks about that. And even the first paragraph broadly talks about it takes time to build vaccines, right? They undergo research and development, multiple rounds to ensure final product is safe. Again, it talks about approval. So overall focus has been on approval. The development of vaccines is a close second for me, to be frank, but I would go for this. Broadly, it's talking about the development of vaccine, right? It's like they undergo a lot of research and development. They try to make it safe and productive. It helps in, disease prevention and all of that. And then they're asking what is approval. But if you see, 80% or more than of it passage talks about approval and process. So I would go for this as the mainly about. Which of the following options gives the correct order followed in the vaccine development? First thing would be do a preclinical studies in animals and all. So that will be conducting preclinical on animals. Collecting scientific and technological information was there before, right? Scientific and technological information, that should be first. B, then it should be conducting preclinical trials, and then you do large scale research on humans. After you do the research with humans, right, 3 phases on humans, once the trials are completed, we'll submit an application, that is submitting an application, and then finally receiving the approval for marketing the drug, BDAC. So the one is BDAC is this. When I did this, I was looking this, I was immediately thinking when I was going through, receiving the approval for marketing the drug is not explicitly talked, but that should be the last step for sure. Right, you do all of these things, so C should be the last one, and there's only one option with C in the end. Okay, that makes it very easy. Even if you don't get confused within these things, C is the last one. That should be enough for you to mark option A. The approval agency of which one of these regions includes a term called related to healing in the title. See, they have given anyways 4 approval agencies. US Food and Drug Administration, no. European Medicines Agency, no. Australia is therapeutic, right? This is for the healing part. Therapy is like healing. So Australia is the country which has healing term related to healing in the title. Which of the following is not true according to the passage? Each step has a particular purpose and aim. I don't see anywhere statement. They said each phase having aims and all of that, but it is not that each step of the entire process is there. Right? I'll keep this a big no for me. All vaccines have to undergo strict trials. Perfectly, guys. That's what the passage says. The research may take even years to culminate, years to end. That's what they said, right? Undergo years of research, right? The development process culminates by approval and all that. It takes a lot of time for it. Yes, human trials can be conducted in laboratory. Yes, they said no. They do 3 phases of trials and all. Increasing large populations and all. So they are talking about phases of clinical trials. So again, this is fine. So this is the one which is the best option to pick, which is not true according to the passage. So this one is on the grammar again. Sentence correction. Often comparisons among an average and excellent student either at home or in a class can result in complexes in the average child. So the problem is with the word among. When you are comparing 2 people, it should be between A and B. Often comparisons between an average and excellent student. If I am talking, I use among when there are more than 2 people in comparison. You are the best among the 30 people I have seen. So among 30, you won't call you are the best between 30 people. You are the best one between you and your friend. That is something that you do. Between for 2 people, keep in mind, and among is for more than 2 people. Like 3-4 people in the group, if I am comparing, I am saying you are the best among or you are better among the other 2 I have seen or something. So that way you compare. So between should be the one. So this is the wrong or the correct option to pick. Again, this one is the para-jumbles with the odd one out in a way. So manager alone can perform all the tasks assigned to him. Then they've kept 2. Delegation is about entrusting someone else to do the parts. Okay, so let's look at PQR. The top level management has the greatest authority. Okay, this seems to be the odd sentence for me. The delegation of authority means division of authority and powers downwards to subordinate. So defining delegation. In order to meet the targets, the manager should delegate authority. In the first one, for me it's very clear P is the odd one out. Okay, first of all, the overall focus of the passage or paragraph is manager cannot do all the tasks. So in order to meet the targets, he should delegate. What is the meaning of delegation? And then they're talking about delegation, some feature of delegation. Nowhere the focus should go to top level management as the greatest authority. It's pretty much irrelevant here. So P is left with only this option. Even if you can eliminate, as I said, you can get the job done, but still. So first the definition, before you get into delegation of authority definition, I should first define get the word delegation right into the discussion. So manager cannot do all the tasks. In order to meet the targets, he need to do delegation. So that should be R, and then it should be Q. So it should be RQ is the answer. That's the only one with anyways P eliminated, so clear. The last one part of the sentence contains an error. Sudhakar likes to read this column in the newspaper but does not necessarily agree to their views. So here, if at all there is a problem, the problem I see is with this word too. Agree with is what you generally do. When it comes to views and all, you should rather use agree with views. I say I agree to you. You don't do agree, I agree with you. That's what you do. You say I agree to idea or something. That's a different story. But when you're talking about views, it should go with. That's the correct combination. So I agree with you ways. So when I use agree to, you can just Google it to see what is agree to versus agree with. You will find some explanations for that to understand better. So there are contexts where you use agree to, agree on, agree upon, right? But then views word, you should use agree with their views. So that's why the problem is with agree to their views. Agree with their views is the correct one, right? That's how we solve all of these questions. So I felt this was on the easier side with respect to time. Okay, to be frank, out of all the numerical reasoning and the verbal, I felt for me at least personally, it was the easiest of the lot in terms of attempting them. 30 minutes for 24 questions is a lot of time. I was left with more than, I think if I'm not wrong, 6-7 minutes. I think I just had to keep it idle. I couldn't end this. That was something bad with this test, that they didn't let me end early. So so if I normally go with this, what I would recommend is 3 parts. Make it 3 parts, 8 questions, 8 questions and 8 questions, 10 minutes each, right? But the only problem will be accuracy will be low out of all, right? When I checked again after seeing, I don't remember the exact answers I marked, but then I did definitely make a mistake in 2-3 cases, right? Couple of para jumbles, one of them, and I think I made 2 or 3 if I'm not wrong, right? Couple of them were wrong in the exam, but then there was a lot of time that, maybe in the real exam I would have rechecked where I had doubt, but then I was a bit casual. But yeah, accuracy could be a question for general students. So I'd say try to think that you'll get 70% something, right? That's something that you should target, but you should attempt all. Trust me on that. Don't try to attempt less and try to get higher accuracy. That's very difficult. The questions are easy. It's about whether you know things or you don't know things. So try your best to space it this way, and you should attempt all the questions. You should attempt all the questions. Technically, you should attempt all the questions for all the sections, but this one you can do it a little bit more clearly because there's enough time to attempt all the questions. There are 8 questions on passages, simple passages, direct and straightforward. Para jumbles, which are slightly different, where they give 2 sentences, you have to pick the other 2 out of the 3 options given. Like something unique I've seen in this test. Fill in the blank with sentences, fill in the blank with the words, fill in the blank with grammar questions. So verb, some basic words. They didn't even test high level vocabulary, very basic words. Sentences is something, again, you have to pick the relevant one. In these both the cases, try to pick the odd sentence in the given options. That itself is good enough for you to eliminate the most of the options. Grammar was tested well. Actually, if you ask me, 25% of it was on the grammar correction and the fill in the blank with the grammar. And then they had a couple of questions which we called it miscellaneous, which was the formal language and sentence merging and all. So very basic thing. If you are good with the basic language, you don't find it very hard. You should be doing very good with this section. So if you ask me, I think ideally you should be getting 15 plus. This is a good, it's a good attempt. I mean, getting 15 plus correct. Attempting 24 is what I would say. A student should definitely be able to, maybe 1 or 2, I don't know. But you should be able to attempt all of them, and then you should be getting most of them being correct. So I took 70% accuracy. That's why I'm talking about getting 15-16 correct. It's a good output that I would say for this, right? So that's what we have to say. On the whole, we have done all the 3 videos. We have done the overall analysis of how you need to also prepare for your test and all. So I hope this would really help you do well in the exam. All the best from our side. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Hope it was very helpful for you. Do subscribe to us, our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook and Instagram. And we do have a TCS NQT mock test, 2 mock tests of very similar pattern along with the subjective test, right? So it will be available at gtcube.com/store for just 99 rupees. So you can just go ahead and grab it. It's a very affordable, and it's going to give you a good practice of actual tests. It's all about practicing more at this point of time and make sure that you get used to the pattern and then do better on this, right? Thanks a lot, and all the best.